The gym was silent except for the squeak of shoes on polished hardwood. Marcus Webb stood at the center of the mat, gold medal gleaming around his neck, arms crossed, grin wide and sharp. Around him, 20-something athletes in branded gear formed a half circle, phones out, recording. The energy was electric, viral in the making. And 10 feet away, standing near a mop bucket with wheels that wouldn't stop squeaking, was Leonard Hayes, 63 years old, black, thin-framed, wearing a Navy janitor's uniform 2 sizes too big. He wasn't looking at Marcus. He was looking at the floor like he'd learned to do. "Hey, old-timer," Marcus called out, voice booming, playful but pointed. "You ever throw anyone before, or just trash?" The crowd laughed. Not cruel, just comfortable. The kind of laughter that rides on power. Marcus walked toward Leonard slowly, casually, like a lion approaching a sparrow. He wasn't angry. He wasn't even mean. He was performing. This was content. This was engagement. "Come on, man, one throw, just for fun." Marcus gestured to the mat. "I'll go easy, promise." Leonard's eyes lifted, just for a second. There was something there. Something deep and still, like water before a storm. But he said nothing. He gripped the mop handle tighter. "What, you scared?" Someone from the crowd shouted. Marcus laughed, held up a hand. Nah, he's cool, just, you know." He shrugged, smirking. Probably never learned. Leonard's jaw tightened. One muscle, that's all. But if you were watching closely, if you really looked, you'd see it. The restraint, the history, the weight of 1,000 moments just like this one. All right, Marcus said, turning back to his crew. "Let the man work. Gotta keep this place clean for the real athletes, right?" The laughter swelled, phones still recording. Marcus high-fived someone. The moment was over. But Leonard didn't move. He stood there, mop in hand, staring at the mat. His lips moved, barely, a whisper no one heard. "I remember." And then he turned. Slowly, pushed the bucket toward the exit. The squeak of the wheels echoed across the gym like a dying breath. Marcus didn't notice. He was already scrolling through his phone, checking angles for the post. 4:47 a.m. Leonard's alarm didn't beep, it hummed, an old Timex on a nightstand scarred with water rings. He woke before it went off anyway. 30 years of habit. His apartment was small. 1 bedroom in South Memphis walls, the color of old teeth, a hot plate, a fold-out chair, a single photo on the wall, black and white, faded at the edges. A younger man in a GI, shoulders broad, eyes sharp, a medal around his neck. That man was Leonard. 1982, Pan American Games, bronze in Judo, 68-kilogram division. He'd been 20 years old, fast, hungry, untouchable. He stared at the photo for 5 seconds. Then he turned away. Leonard ate breakfast at Rosie's Diner every morning. Same booth, same order. 2 eggs, toast, black coffee. The waitress, June, knew him by name. "You okay today, Lenny?" she asked, pouring his coffee without asking. He nodded, smiled, the kind of smile that didn't reach the eyes. "Same as always, June." She didn't push. She'd learned not to. Leonard was the kind of man who carried silence like armor. But today, something was different. His hand shook slightly as he lifted the cup. June noticed. She said nothing. At the gym, Leonard changed in the employee locker room. A closet, really. Barely big enough for 2 people. No windows. Fluorescent light buzzing like a trapped fly. He pulled on his uniform. Navy blue name tag, Leonard H. As he tied his boots, a memory surfaced. Uninvited. Unwanted. 1984. Olympic Trials, Los Angeles. He'd been ranked 4th 1 match away from the team. His opponent, a college kid from Oregon, faster, younger, reckless. Leonard had him, arm trapped, perfect setup for Seoi Naj. But the kid twisted, wrong angle, wrong timing, and Leonard's knee buckled. Ligaments tore like old rope. He didn't scream, he just fell, and that was it. No team, no medal, no comeback. Leonard blinked. The memory dissolved. He stood, adjusted his name tag, walked out. Day 2. Leonard was mopping near the free weights when Marcus walked in. This time he wasn't alone. 3 other fighters, all younger, all watching Marcus like he was the sun. "Yo, it's the legend!" Marcus called out. Grinning, Leonard didn't look up. Marcus walked closer. "Nah, for real though, I looked you up last night. You were nice back in the day. Bronze medal, right? Pan Am Games?" Leonard's hand froze mid-mop. His heart hammered. "Yeah," Marcus continued, louder now. "82, before I was born." He laughed. "Man, what happened? You could have been somebody." The words hit like a blade between the ribs. Leonard finally looked up, met Marcus's eyes. "I was," he said quietly. The gym went silent. Later that afternoon, Leonard was called into the manager's office. Steve Callahan, mid-40s, corporate smile, clipboard in hand. "Leonard, sit." He sat. Steve sighed, rubbed his temples. "Look, I'm gonna be straight with you. We got a complaint." "From who?" "Does it matter?" Steve leaned back. "Someone said you were lingering, making athletes uncomfortable." Leonard's jaw clenched. "I was doing my job." "I'm not saying you weren't. I'm just saying maybe keep your head down, you know? Don't engage." "I didn't." "Leonard," Steve's voice dropped. "You've been here 11 years. You're reliable. I like you. But Marcus Webb is bringing in sponsors. Big names. We can't afford friction." Leonard stared at him. Understanding bloomed, slow and bitter. "So stay in my lane." Steve smiled, relieved. "Exactly." That night, Leonard's phone rang. Caller ID, Shayna, daughter. He answered on the 3rd ring. "Hey, baby." "Dad." Her voice was tight, controlled. "I saw the video." Leonard's chest tightened. He didn't ask which one. He knew. "It's nothing, Shay." "It's not nothing. He disrespected you in front of everyone. And you just stood there." Silence. "Dad, you were somebody. You don't have to take that." Leonard closed his eyes. "That was a long time ago." "So what? You're still—" "I'm a janitor, Shayna. That's what I am now." She didn't respond. He could hear her breathing. Hurt. Frustrated. "I love you," he said softly. "I love you too." The line went dead. Leonard sat in the dark. The photo on the wall stared back at him. You were somebody. The next evening, Leonard was leaving through the back exit when he heard footsteps behind him. "Hey, Leonard." He turned. Marcus, alone this time. For a moment, neither spoke. The parking lot was empty. No cameras, no crowd. "Look, man," Marcus said, hands in his pockets. "I didn't mean to blow you up like that. It was just, content." Leonard stared at him, waiting. "But yo, for real, you were legit. I respect that." Leonard's voice was quiet, steady. "Respect isn't a show, son. It's what you do when no one's watching." Marcus blinked. Something flickered across his face. Guilt, confusion. But then it was gone. "Yeah, well, see you around." He walked away, left Leonard standing under a streetlight, alone. That night, Leonard sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the photo on the wall. The young man in the GI stared back, strong, proud, whole. Leonard didn't recognize him anymore. He pulled the photo off the wall, held it in his hands. His fingers trembled, and for the first time in 30 years, Leonard Hayes wept. Day 4. Leonard was cleaning the locker room when Steve appeared in the doorway. "Leonard, someone's here to see you." "Who?" "Didn't say, just asked for you by name. He's in the lobby." Leonard frowned. He dried his hands and walked out. The man waiting by the front desk was in his 70s, white hair, crisp suit, cane in one hand. His eyes lit up when he saw Leonard. "Lenny Hayes," the man said, smiling. "I'll be damned." Leonard froze. "Coach Brennan." They sat in the gym cafe. Coach Brennan, Leonard's trainer from 1980 to 84. ordered 2 coffees and leaned forward. "I saw the video," Brennan said, "and I got angry." Leonard looked down. "Coach, it's fine." "It's not fine." Brennan's voice was steel. "That kid disrespected you, and worse, he doesn't even know who you are." "I'm nobody now." "Bullshit." Brennan slapped the table. Heads turned. He didn't care. "You were one of the best technical fighters I ever coached. You taught half the national team your drop seoi nage. You pioneered grip fighting strategies we still use today." Leonard's throat tightened. "You didn't just win a medal, Lenny. You changed the game, and then you disappeared. I got hurt. And instead of coaching, instead of staying in the sport, you just gave up?" Silence. Brennan softened. "Why, Lenny? Why'd you walk away?" Leonard's voice cracked. "Because they forgot me, Coach. The moment I couldn't compete, I stopped mattering. No team, no sponsors, no calls. I became invisible." Brennan's eyes glistened. "Then let's make you visible again." 2 days later, the gym was packed. Press, cameras, sponsors. Marcus Webb stood at a podium, flanked by his manager and the gym owner. "We're excited to announce," Marcus read from a card, "a new partnership with Under Armour and a documentary about my journey to—" The back door opened. Coach Brennan walked in, and behind him, Leonard Hayes, wearing a clean, pressed, bronze medal around his neck. The room went silent. "Sorry to interrupt," Brennan said, voice booming, "but I think there's someone here Marcus should meet properly." Marcus stared, confused, annoyed. Brennan continued. "This is Leonard Hayes, 1982, Pan American Games bronze medalist, 1984 Olympic Trials finalist, one of the most innovative judokas of his generation, and for the past 11 years, he paused. "The janitor you mocked on camera." The room erupted. Reporters swarmed. Questions flew. "Marcus, did you know who he was?" "Leonard, how did it feel to be disrespected?" Marcus's face went pale. His manager whispered frantically in his ear. The gym owner looked ready to faint, but Leonard just stood there, calm, steady. A reporter shoved a mic in his face. "Mr. Hayes, what do you want people to know?" Leonard looked at Marcus, held his gaze. "That respect isn't about medals," he said softly. "It's about how you treat people when they can't do anything for you." Marcus looked away. Within hours, the new footage went nuclear. Olympic Janitor revealed Marcus Webb exposed for mocking legend. Leonard Hayes, the man we forgot. News outlets picked it up. ESPN, The Today Show. Social media exploded. Marcus's sponsors started pulling out. Comments flooded his pages, thousands of them, angry, disappointed, betrayed. And Leonard went home, sat in his apartment, stared at the photo on the wall, and for the first time in decades, he smiled. The fallout was brutal. Under Armour pulled the deal. The documentary was canceled. Marcus's Instagram lost 200,000 followers in 2 days. But worse than the sponsors, worse than the money, was the silence. His training partners stopped texting. His coach stopped calling. The gym that once revolved around him now felt hollow. Marcus sat alone in the locker room, scrolling through comments. "You disrespected a legend. Fame made you forget where you came from. You're not a champion. You're a clown." He threw his phone across the room. It shattered against the wall, and for the first time since winning gold, Marcus Webb felt small. 3 days later, Marcus showed up at Leonard's apartment unannounced. Desperate, Leonard opened the door, raised an eyebrow. "Can I come in?" Leonard stepped aside. They sat across from each other. Leonard poured coffee, waited. "I'm sorry," Marcus said finally. "I was wrong. I didn't know who you were. I didn't know what you'd been through. He trailed off. "I was showing off." Leonard sipped his coffee, said nothing. "I lost everything," Marcus continued, voice breaking. "Sponsors, friends, my reputation. And I deserve it. I know I do, but I don't know how to fix it. Leonard set down his cup, looked Marcus in the eye. You can't. Marcus's face fell. Not yet, Leonard added. Apologies don't erase harm, son. They're just the first step. Then what's the second? Leonard smiled. You humble yourself, and you learn. The next morning, Leonard met Marcus at an old dojo across town. Dusty mats, faded banners, no cameras, no crowd. Take off your shoes, Leonard said. Marcus obeyed. For the next 2 hours, Leonard taught. Not techniques, not throws, but principles. Judo isn't about power, Leonard said, demonstrating a grip. It's about leverage, balance, reading your opponent. Marcus struggled, fell, got up, fell again. Why are you helping me? Marcus asked, breathing hard. Leonard paused. Because someone helped me once, and I forgot that I let bitterness turn me invisible. But you, he looked at Marcus, you still have time to choose who you want to be. Marcus's eyes glistened. He bowed, deep, respectful. Thank you, Sensei. A week later, Marcus posted a video, not produced, not edited, just him, sitting on the mat, no music, no captions. My name is Marcus Webb, and I need to say something. He took a breath. I disrespected a man who deserved better. Leonard Hayes is a legend, not because of his medal, but because of his character, and I was too arrogant to see it. He paused, swallowed hard. I've spent the last week training with him, learning from him, and I realized something. I'm not a champion because I won a medal. I'm only a champion if I act like one, and I failed. His voice cracked. So I'm sorry. To Leonard, to everyone who looked up to me, I'm going to do better. The video went viral, 10 million views in 24 hours. The comments were different this time. Respect. This is real accountability. Now that's a champion 6 months later. Leonard no longer worked as a janitor. Coach Brennan had offered him a position, assistant coach at the National Training Center, but Leonard declined. Instead, he opened a small dojo in South Memphis. No frills, just mats and heart. His first students? Kids from the neighborhood, mostly black and brown, mostly overlooked. Leonard taught them judo, but more than that, he taught them dignity. Respect starts here, he'd say, tapping his chest. Not in medals, not in fame, but in how you carry yourself, how you treat others. And they listened. Because Leonard didn't just preach it, he lived it. Marcus visited twice a week. Not as a celebrity, as a student. He helped teach the kids, swept the floors, carried equipment. One evening, a young girl asked him, "Are you famous?" Marcus smiled. "I used to think so." "What changed?" He glanced at Leonard, who was demonstrating a throw in the corner. "I met someone who taught me what real greatness looks like." Shayna visited her father at the dojo one Saturday. She stood in the doorway watching him teach. Leonard spotted her, smiled. After class, they sat on the steps outside. "You seem happy," she said. "I am." "No more hiding." Leonard shook his head. "No more hiding." She leaned against his shoulder. "I'm proud of you, Dad." He kissed the top of her head. "I'm proud of me, too." That night, after everyone left, Leonard stood alone on the mat. The dojo was dark except for one overhead light. He closed his eyes, took a breath, and in the stillness, he heard it. The voice of his younger self, the one in the photo, the one who'd been buried under shame and silence. "You were somebody." Leonard opened his eyes. "I still am," he whispered. Leonard Hayes didn't need a gold medal to be a champion. He didn't need fame, or recognition, or revenge. He just needed to remember who he was. And in remembering himself, he taught an entire generation what true strength looks like, not in dominance, but in dignity, not in ego, but in grace. Because legends aren't made by what you win, they're made by what you give. And Leonard Hayes, he gave everything. The camera pulls back. Leonard bows to the empty dojo. The light fades. The screen goes black. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe, like, and share your thoughts.